Jai Shri Radhe, Sab Vaishnav ko Jai Shri Krishna. Today is day 27, the story of Vittal Das Kayast, which is Varta 6 of the 252 Vaishnava Varta. Story of Vittal Das Kayast, who lived in a village on the other side of Delhi at a distance of 4 miles. Bhav Prakash. Vittal Das is a devotee with a tamasi disposition. His name in the eternal Leela is Vallavi. Vallavi manifests from Sri Vishaka and is thus a form of her divine loving sentiment. Vallavi is expert in secret and intimate love. She often meets with Sri Thakurji in Nanda's palace, but they meet in private and their encounters are concealed from others. Once Premlata was playing with Sri Thakurji in Nandale. Vallavi played a trick and took Sri Thakurji to sit in her lap. Then she took him off to a secret bower and implored him, "Oh, my lord, please grace me and fulfill my heart's desire." Sri Thakurji smilingly replied, "If Premlata were to find out, she will tell Mother Yashoda, who will forbid you from coming to Nandale. Then what will you do? You should therefore take me to Nandale straight away." Vallavi pleaded again, "This is not the time for you to refuse me. Bless me now." Seeing her intense longing, Sri Thakurji fulfilled her desires. One Saki came to know of this and went and told Premlata, who then angrily addressed Vallavi, "Hey, did you deceive me?" Premlata was very upset. For this offence, Vallavi had to manifest on the earthly plane. 4 miles outside Delhi, there's a village, and she was born there as a son to a family of the Vraja caste. The head of the family was an employee at the government court and was very wealthy, so he had Vittal Das well educated. He taught him all about governmental matters. Vittal Das was 25 when his father died. He decided to go on pilgrimage. He just came to Mathura, bathed on Vishram Ghat, fed some Brahmins and gave them donations. Then he travelled on to Gokul. At that time, Sri Gosaiji had come to Takarani Ghat to perform his evening prayers. Vittal Das saw him there and became immediately attracted to Sri Gosaiji and approached him with the request to regard him as his own and to accept him into his shelter. Knowing Vittal Das to be a divine soul, Sri Gosaiji told him to bathe in the Sri Yamunaji and come to the temple in a state of purity. There I will initiate you as a disciple. Having said that, Sri Gosaiji went into the temple, accepted back the lunchtime offerings as prasad, and performed the Rajbhog Arti to Sri Navneet Priyaji. By then, Vittal Das came there in a pure state. After bathing, Sri Gosaiji gave him the holy name initiation and then the second, Brahmasambandh initiation. Having put Sri Navneet Priyaji to rest, Sri Gosaiji came into his betak. Vittal Dasji came there and sat down. He asked, "O Maharaj, what are your instructions for me?" Sri Gosaiji told him that he would be incapable of doing anything other than constantly contemplating on Sri Acharyaji's treatise, Vivek Deri Ashray, wisdom, perseverance and refuge. He said, "By doing this you will gain a perfect understanding of the righteous path of devotion." Vittal Das asked him to explain the treatise to him in full. Sri Gosaiji instructed him in every aspect of that treatise in great detail. Vittal Das stored all of it carefully in his heart. He remained constantly immersed in its innermost purport. Vittal Das stayed there for some days before taking permission to return home. When he reached home, he changed all his pots, plates and pans and began to live according to Vaishnava ways. Vittal Das used to come every year to see and have the sight of Sri Gosaiji in Gokul. He would always bring something of the very best quality as an offering. Sri Gosaiji was very pleased with him. After some time, Vittal Das's wealth dwindled away. He needed to get a job, and so after some thought came to Gaudadesh. Part 1. Vittal Das became a servant of Narayan Das's Patsha. He did not reveal to Narayan Das that he was a Vaishnava, but simply served at the court. If anyone were to ask what lineage he belonged to, he would say that he was a Vaishnava, but Narayan Das did not know this. Some days later, Narayan Das, after discussing with the Patsha, sent Vittal Das to a subdivision of the kingdom. When he had completed his collections there, he returned to Narayan Das and showed him all the accounts from that place. There was some money still owing from Vittal Das's side. Narayan Das told him, "You still owe the government some money here. You should pay that now." Vittal Das said, "Well, I have no more money left. If you send me to another area, I shall make it up from there." Narayan Das put Vittal Das into prison. On the 3rd day, Narayan Das pulled him out of the cell and had him whipped. As he suffered the whip lashes, Vittal Das's body became infected, but he did not tell Narayan Das that he was a Vaishnava disciple of Sri Gosaiji. Bhav Prakash. Why? It is not appropriate to use one's status as a Vaishnava to fulfill one's own seva. fulfill one's own purpose, otherwise one can fall from the path. Therefore he did not reveal that he was a Vaishnava. Part 1 continued. When Vittal Das's condition was very deteriorated, Narayan Das let him go. His body healed, but Narayan Das did not beat him anymore, but he kept him in prison. One day Sri Gosaiji set off to pilgrimage to Sri Jagannath Puri. One of his men came to Narayan Das and told him that Sri Gosaiji was nearby. Narayan Das was very happy to hear this, got ready to go to see Sri Gosaiji. Vittal Das told him, "You are going for the sight of Sri Gosaiji. Please will you let me accompany you?" Narayan Das exclaimed, "Oh, what a great shame. Why did you not tell me that you are a disciple of Sri Gosaiji?" Vittal Das simply stated, "Oh, Narayan Das, I came here to work for you. I did not come to tell you my Vaishnava path." Narayan Das released Vittal Das, who, wearing a long shirt, then accompanied Narayan Das to go before Sri Gosaiji. They reached there and Vittal Das bowed before Sri Gosaiji. Sri Gosaiji smiled when he saw him and asked him how long he had been there. Vittal Das replied that he had been living there for a short time, near Narayan Das. Sri Gosaiji smiled when he saw him and asked him how long he had been there. Vittal Das replied that he had been living there for a short time, near Narayan Das. Sri Gosaiji again addressed him, "Oh, Vittal Das, it has been a long time since I heard your news." After this, both Narayan Das and Vittal Das sat down in Sri Gosaiji's presence. Narayan Das's face began to shrivel. Sri Gosaiji had cooked and made the offerings to the Lord. He asked Vittal Das, "You used to be quite healthy, but now you seem to have become weak. Why is this?" Vittal Das said, "Mo Maharaj, I have been working for the Pacha. He put me in prison, that's why I am weak." Sri Gosaiji asked him why he had not told Narayan Das about this. Vittal Das replied that he had come there to work and not to sell his beliefs. "My body deserved punishment, and so it was necessary for me to suffer that. Why would it be necessary to reveal one's beliefs to anyone?" Hearing the strength of his devotion, Sri Gosaiji praised him profusely. Narayan Das's face turned white. Sri Gosaiji went to accept the offerings back as prasad. On returning, he invited Vittal Das to have prasad there itself. Vittal Das said, "Oh Maharaj, I am not very well and I have not bathed." Sri Gosaiji instructed him to bathe there. He told his personal servant to help him bathe. In order to fulfill his instructions, Vittal Das removed his long shirt. Narayan Das began to tremble. That personal servant of Sri Gosaiji bathed Vittal Das. Vittal Das was sitting down to bathe. Sri Gosaiji came there to wash the floors, pots and pans. He trembled when he saw Vittal Das's body and asked him what on earth had happened to him. Vittal Das was on the edge of tears when he said, "I was whipped." Then Sri Gosaiji asked who had whipped him. He looked over at Narayan Das. Sri Gosaiji asked Narayan Das, "Why did you whip such a Vaishnava in this way?" Narayan Das supplicated, "I did not know he was a Vaishnava." Sri Gosaiji again addressed him, "But you did not know he was a Vaishnava, but you did know that he was a human being. A Vaishnava should never be so cruel. Vaishnava should be compassionate to all living beings." Narayan Das said, "Oh Maharaj, I have committed a terrible offence." Narayan Das urged Vittal Das to stay with him there, but he refused. When Sri Gosaiji left Narayan Das's area, Vittal Das also left there. He left along with Sri Gosaiji, but he would not stay there, Bal Prakash. He left because Narayan Das now knew that he was a Vaishnava. Thus concludes Varta 6, the story of Vittal Das, who was the recipient of Sri Gosaiji's great grace and an accomplished Vaishnava. His story truly has no end. सब वैष्णवों को जय श्री कृष्ण। आज के आनंद की जय हो। जय जय श्री राधे।